guys, welcome back to GNF Legacy Farm. Kelsey here, and as promised, today I'm going to do the frequently asked question video when it comes to tapping maple trees, collecting maple sap, and turning it into maple syrup. So we started here about 2 weeks ago, tapping our maple trees here in southeast Michigan, and we are just now getting to the point where we are getting really good collections, and the sap is flowing really well. So if you missed my first video where I kind of just went through and took you with us, I will link that down below. And I'm gonna have a whole playlist that's gonna be devoted to just, maple syrup. So I've had a lot of people ask me, what trees can I tap? Well, you can tap any maple tree. You can tap any variety of the maple species, any variety. Now the thing you need to know with that though is that different varieties of maple trees will have different sugar concentration levels. So a sugar maple is going to have the highest levels of sugar versus some others will not be quite as high. So why that is important is that you will need to boil your sap down longer if you have a tree that has less sugar. So a good rule of thumb is about 40 to 50 gallons of sap will produce 1 gallon of syrup. Now again, that depends, if you're doing a sugar maple or if you're doing a other type of tree. And also, I'll tell you too, is you don't have to worry, because I don't want to tell you now about the different, varieties and have you be concerned of, oh, is that a sugar maple? And be all worried with your concentration levels. So what you're going to do is you're going to collect your sap. You're going to evaporate it. So boil it down and taste it. Taste it so it gets, you kind of know the different level, or you could even talk to other people who collect sap and make maple syrup in your area, so you can find out what is the best ratio for you. Like I said, typically rule of thumb around here is 40 gallons of sap makes 1 gallon of syrup, but that depends. It also depends on your taste as well. That's why it kind of goes back and forth. Some people will tell you one number, some people will tell you another number. So that's why I want you to find out what you prefer the best. So, do it at 40 gallons of sap to 1 gallon of syrup. See how you like it. Do you like the taste? Or maybe you do 50 or 60, or maybe 50 or 60 is a little too dark for you. It's a little too caramelized. Decide what you like. I'm going to try to explain the process a little more in depth than I have in my other videos, and that way that's going to answer a lot of the questions that I've had people ask me as well. So to get started, first find out if there are maple trees in your area. And I don't feel comfortable with going and showing you how to identify your trees, but there are lots of resources for that online, so go ahead and look into that yourself, or again, ask someone to help you, or even better yet, ask someone, if you are looking to get into it, ask if you could help someone who is normally doing it, who's normally collecting sap. Ask them if you could help and learn. That's a great way to get started. That's how I got started with honey as well. My grandpa produces honey, and I wanted to learn more how to get into it. So, okay, I'll go help grandpa for a few days and get some free knowledge. And he was happy because he got a helper. And I would like to mention that it is not just maple that you can tap. There are different varieties. Here in Michigan, we have plenty of maple, and we have plenty of maple here on our farm. So we just strictly tap maple, but I've heard other people talk about other trees that you can tap. So if you do not have maple in your area, look and see what other trees you can tap. Okay, so as far as supplies go, you will need taps, you will need a drill. so that way you can tap the tree. So you will need lines if you are collecting with buckets. But if you are not collecting with buckets, if you are collecting with bags, as you can see behind me, those are the bags that we're using this year. I have lines that go into the bag. We have a holder that goes onto the tree and holds it that way. So if you're collecting with buckets, you need fresh, food grade, new, clean buckets. A lot of times you can buy buckets online. Also, it's worth mentioning that here in Michigan, we have a great supplier, Sugar Bush, and I will put their link down below. You cannot order online. You have to call them and place your order that way, but we ordered some bottling equipment from them this year, and we were very happy with it. So go ahead and support a Michigan company if you can. You can also get a lot of your supplies at your local farm store around here. Tractor Supply carries a lot, actually. They will have taps, lines, buckets, the bags, and the bag holders. Remember, we made our own bag holders this year, but you can also purchase them as well. Another thing that you will need is, that I highly recommend, is a new sharp drill bit. We noticed a difference with the sap flow when we switched to a brand new drill bit, so that's why we recommend that. Okay, you will also need to store your sap. Now, it is recommended that you boil or evaporate your sap into syrup within 7 days, so that way it limits the bacteria growth. And you want to keep your sap cold. I had someone recently tell me that they compare it to milk, so keep it cold and it will not spoil. And you will need some sort of food safe container to store it in. Now again, if you're just tapping a couple trees and you have some extra food safe buckets, you can just store it right in the buckets. If there's still snow on the ground, I've seen a lot of people will take and store their buckets in the snow, so that way it keeps them nice and cold. You can certainly do that. So another frequently asked question is, when do I start tapping my tree? So you're going to want to start tapping your trees when temperatures are still freezing at night, but you are getting just above freezing during the day, and the sap will flow best during warm, sunny days. But again, it still needs to be frozen at night. And you can tap, it depends. Here in Michigan, it's typically anywhere from mid-February until April. You can tap, but again, it just depends on what Mother Nature is doing that year. So on average, you'll get about 6 weeks of flow from when you start to tap or from when you have to stop collecting. And again, it all really just depends on what Mother Nature is up to that year. Now you will know when you have to stop collecting because the trees will start getting buds. And at that point, then the sap will become sour and it will not taste as well. You do not want to make syrup out of it. So just pay attention when the trees start to bud, you are done. You'll also notice at that time that the sap will start to get more yellow in color, and it will have like a sour smell too. Another way to tell when you're going to be done collecting sap is when you are no longer getting freezing nights. When it is above freezing during the day and above freezing at night, it just will not flow anymore and you are done at that time. So again, it's typically about 6 weeks average here in Michigan, but it all depends on how Mother Nature is that year. So if you missed it in my other video, I'm going to show you a little bit about our bags this year. And I will do a full comparison video on the bags versus the buckets. We are still doing some buckets this year, but we did decide to give the bags a try. So we have our taps. You can see it was a nice sunny day today, so still dripping. So we have these nice bags. They're blue, so they're UV protected. And then my husband took some PVC and made the holders for that. Again, you can buy these in store, but it was easy enough for us to make them. But if that is not an option for you, you can definitely buy them. And then we just secure them with a zip tie. Okay, so we collected our sap and now we're up here at our evaporator and I will show you that in a second. First, I want to talk to you guys about evaporators and some other options that you have. So we do quite a few trees here, but if you are just tapping a couple trees, if you are just doing a personal amount or you just want to try it for the first time, you do not need to go out and buy some big fancy evaporator. I've had a lot of people ask, I'm going to apologize right now if you can hear my cattle bellowing in the back. They do not understand why it is chore time and I am making a video instead of feeding them. So you're probably going to hear that a couple more times and then I will have to just go feed them and quit videoing. Also, I have the chickens up here too. They're like all underneath the camera right now. So I do apologize. Just remember this is a farm. If you are just looking for a hobby amount, do you see that over there? Can you maybe, is the chicken stuck and the cow is scaring it? You could fix that fiasco, that'd be great. What? Is the chicken stuck? Farm life. Chicken got stuck, then the cattle had to come and check it out, and that scared the chicken, so chicken is getting unstuck and it is fine. Cattle are just being nosy. It's really a circus here right now. So anyways, if you were just doing like a hobby amount, you're just gonna tap a couple trees, just want to get some fresh maple syrup for yourself, you do not have to go out and buy an evaporator. I have a lot of people that have asked me like, hey Kelsey, how can I boil maple syrup without an evaporator, and what is the easiest way to do that? Well, and what is the easiest way to do that with supplies that I already have on hand? Well, my best recommendation for you, if you're not going to go and purchase an evaporator, is a turkey fryer. So if you have a turkey fryer, like a propane turkey fryer, that is going to be the easiest. So you'll use propane. Now we use wood here, but that is because we have plenty of wood available and it's cheaper for us, again, and we are boiling a lot. So our evaporator is 24 inches by 32 inches. This style is very common. You can find them online. And what we did, what my husband did was he fabricated a burner down below. Like I said, we burn wood because that is cheapest and easiest for us. But you can definitely do it with propane if you want. But if you're tapping a lot of trees, you're going to be boiling a lot of maple syrup. So we use wood because it is cheaper for us. You could definitely use propane, but it is, if you're going to be doing a lot of trees, you're going to be boiling a lot of sap that way, and it can get expensive. So you want your fire good and hot. Again, I apologize about the cattle, but we are a farm. They can see me here, so they know that I'm right here, and they are not okay with me making a video at chore time. Alright, thanks for joining us today, guys. Hope you enjoyed our video, and please, if you have any other questions, just put them in the comments and I will do my best to answer them. It is not too late to start tapping. Like I said, we're just starting to get good flow now. So you still have time to go ahead and tap a couple trees if you want to try it for the first time this year. So if you are looking for more information, make sure that you subscribe to our channel, and I will keep you updated on all of our maple syruping. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.